The second game going on Friday, 6:30 as well. ESPN, you have the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl that is being played over in Georgia. A rematch of what we saw earlier in the season from what was probably the shock of the season, really, if you look back and you think about it, because before, this game, Indiana, yeah, they had a great, season. They were 10-0, but they lost in the you know, in the Big 10 championship. They lost to Penn State in the playoffs. It was like, yeah, they're great. They've turned their season around, but they lost the two big games. Can they really compete with the big boys? Going into that the Oregon game in Eugene, it was like, okay, what's going to happen? Is it just Indiana being, hey, they're going to be, that third team, third, fourth team best? Or are they really going to propel themselves? People are going to say a lot of things back and forth here about, hey, it was 2020 going to the fourth quarter. Hey, this and that. Indiana really put their legs on their throats and choked them out and really, won that football game pretty handily, right? I mean, Oregon got a pick six, kept themselves in the game. There were some different things there. The Hoosiers won 30-20 in that game, and that was really where everybody was like, man, this Indiana team is for real. Fly, halfway across the country, go into that hostile environment, win the game the way they did. That really put Indiana in that upper echelons and propelled them for the rest of the season to really believe in themselves and know that they can go into big games against big time programs and win some football games. So that first game, when you looked at it, it was Mendoza and Moore. They really kind of struggled. They didn't have super great of game. That pass rush for Indiana got after Dante Moore, was able to make him uncomfortable, threw some wild passes. Mendoza was the same way. He had that pick six. He wasn't super accurate like we had saw him, all year, but he made the plays when he needed to. Indiana's only favored by 4 points here. Keys to the game for me, easy. Oregon's got to solve Indiana's pass rush. Indiana has done very well at getting after quarterbacks, controlling the line of scrimmage, and making those quarterbacks earn everything that they have gotten, right? Ty Simpson had a really poor game at the Rose Bowl last week. They kept him under pressure. The secondary did a really good job of, using that aggressiveness of that defensive line to choke those wide receivers and not let them make huge plays. And then on the other side of the ball, it's Indiana, really. They've been the one consistent, I feel like, this year. Like, they have really been like, hey, we're going to come in, we're going to play our style of football. You have to change your game around what we're doing, right? We're going to run the ball. We're going to play very physical, and then Mendoza's going to make plays when he needs to. And Indiana has been able to win it every different way that they've needed to this year. They have won really close games. If you look at it, the Ohio State game, for example, they've won the blowouts. They came from behind against Penn State, and a lot of people say, hey, that's Penn State. They were a terrible team this year. Penn State probably played the best football that they've ever played that day against Indiana. Now, they played really good football against Oregon, too, when they played them. So there was a time span there where Penn State could put together a couple good football games. And it was never that Penn State wasn't a good football team. They're super talented. But anyways, I'm getting off track with that Penn State. But Indiana just conforms and plays the way they need to. They've been in every different situation. Can Oregon figure out their offensive side of the football? Now, they scored 23 points against Tech. They ended drives at the 25, the 2, the 46. There was a bunch of drives there that they had turnover on downs. There were four different drives where they were in Texas Tech territory and they couldn't convert on fourth down. You'd say, hey, that's just Tech's defense. They play really well. Yes, some of those were really long drives, and they maybe just didn't have the greatest play call, whatever the case may be. Some of that goes back to what we were talking about with Ole Miss and their, coaching staff. They've got offensive coaches that are going elsewhere, and the transfer portal's opened up, and they've got their heads elsewhere. Maybe there was some, shake up there from them not being completely focused on that game with Tech, and they just, didn't draw up the schemes well enough. Whatever that could be, right? That's an excuse that's out there and it's talked about, but Oregon's got to figure out, hey, how do we get past this shaky and we capitalize on every opportunity that we can, because Indiana as a football team is much better than Texas Tech. I think we can agree upon that just from what they've proven. Indiana's defense is as good, if not better, than Texas Tech. I think they're better. They play very physical, get after the ball. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Easy pick for me. I say easy. I'm going to take it back. You know what? I want to see if you convince my mind here. Change my mind. Go for it.
Really, the only thing that would make me not pick Indiana is just recent history with rematches in the playoffs and rematches in conference championship games. And that's that the team that won the first go round in the regular season didn't win the second go round. And for me, that's a hard thing to get over because when you lose, it's easy to make adjustments.
Yep.
You can go back, you can look at what you did poorly, you can pinpoint very specific things as long as you didn't get the absolute doors blown off you, which in this particular case, I wouldn't say that Oregon got the doors blown off them. You can go back and make some corrections and pinpoint what you did poorly. Now, when you're the winning team, you don't know what those corrections are going to be, what they're going to look like, and you don't have 2 weeks, a week and a half to prepare for adjustments to be made like this team does. So I think that's an advantage within itself to be the losing team as long as you were competitive in the matchup. And in this particular case, they were. And Dan Lanning is a good football coach. So I have no doubt that Oregon will come out prepared and will have some sort of mitigation for what Indiana did to them the first time. When you look at common opponents, similar opponents, they both played a close game with Iowa. Um, am I convinced? I don't know. I mean, they both played a close game with Penn State. They are I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. I want to say that Oregon has the advantage, but Indiana just looks like a better team overall. But what Oregon did to Texas Tech kind of has me leaning towards Oregon just because it was a complete demolition job of Tech's offense. And if they're able to come out with that same intensity, which I think Oregon's defense is the high point of their team as a whole, and not that their offense is bad, but historically it's always been Oregon with a half line offense and no defense. And now this particular team, I think it's their defense that's their highlight, and their offense it's very good.
Yep.
But when you talk about better of the two, their defense is something to write home about. I think they're both very physical teams. They both have, to me, similar constructed rosters. I'm gonna go Oregon just because I feel like you're gonna go Indiana, and I don't think they blow them out. What's the spread? Three and
Yeah,
a half.
you're going 3.5 to 4 here. Yep.
I think Oregon.
Depending on which one you're looking at, and then you've got a 46.5 over under. So
I think Oregon wins. They don't cover, but they win.
yeah.
So give me Oregon straight up. I'm not gonna pick a score in this one because God only knows I'll probably be wrong.
Yeah. So unfortunately, nothing you said changed my mind. I'm going to take Indiana here. I'm going to take them by 10. I think the one consistent that you look at is Kirk Cignetti and that offensive staff. They have no shakeups. They have nothing going on. They're steady. They're firm. Some of the uncertainties with Oregon's coaching staff has got me a little bit worried. Indiana has played super consistent. They right now look like they're the cream of the crop. So give me Indiana by 10. I think they cover. If you're looking at betting, take the over on the 46.5. Even if it's a low scoring game, it's probably going to be, 28, 23, somewhere in that. I don't think they keep anybody. I don't think they keep Indiana under 28 points, to be honest with you. I think they're going to be able to run the ball well and Mendoza's going to be able to hit those balls deep if he needs to. Yeah. Easy, man. Look at us.
Light work.
Look at us. Previews are done under 40
Before we
minutes.
get too far, got to give a shout out to the Montana State Bobcats. Did you watch
Hey,
that game last night?
yes,